certainly the most enjoyable to work at. I've always had an amazing day at the office at Yas Marina, and what a fantastic night we're going to have now. There's something in the air about night racing, particularly on this circuit. There's something special, there's magical, there's something really tangible in feel, a real aesthetic that all racing drivers feel a yearning for. They love to race around this circuit at night, and certainly tonight we're going to get one final race in the single-seater international season that'll set the drivers up perfectly for going into the winter. I'm Jake Sanson, great to be with you once again, and after the race earlier on we saw a very emotional run to victory for the American star Sebastian Weldon. Motorsport aficionados will recognize the surname. Those older amongst us will feel a real tinge of bittersweet hope and sorrow. A fabulous victory in the race earlier on for young Sebastian Weldon, who follows in the footsteps of his great father Dan's legacy, a two-time Indy 500 winner and former IndyCar Series champion, sadly lost to us in 2011 in the Las Vegas round of the IndyCar Series. 13 years on, it's Sebastian making his own way, his own journey in the world of motorsport as he takes his first steps up the racing ladder. And based on what we saw in the earlier race, there's no issue watching him climb up to the top. So it's going to be a fascinating second race of the day, and pole position goes the way of Qi Zhenru for this one, the Chinese driver who is teammate to Sebastian Weldon, and he'll be on the front row of the starting grid alongside Zabir Anoug. It'll be an interesting one for the youngster who continues his pathway up the sport, and the Alpine-backed driver Kabir Anurag will have an interesting time of things as he tries to continue his steady journey. So there is your pole position sitter, namely that of Qi Zhenru, who comes into this race having already had a fairly decent run of things, but obviously there's a lot more still to be done here tonight, with one 25-minute plus additional lap race left in the battle for supremacy. But things have changed a little bit after the previous race. Coming into the weekend, Rashid Al-Daheri had a fairly sizable points advantage over Kai Dadianani, and certainly that is the way things remain. He has a 96 points score, which is now 12 more than Kai Dadianani. So to become the champion, Kai Dadianani needs third or better to win Formula Trophy UAE 2024. And it will be a reasonable challenge. He no longer has the pressure of being caught and passed in the points by Gustav Jonsson, who sadly failed to finish race one after a puncture. There is Sebastian Weldon, the man who made waves earlier on, the American, for the Mumbai Falcons racing team in Gainbridge colours, very similar to that seen on the Andretti Autosport team in IndyCar. So Sebastian Weldon really enjoying his first race and his first victory outside his native land. This is going to be another opportunity for him to do likewise and wrap it up as a double victor. My goodness me, what a first impression on the world that would give Sebastian Weldon, and what an amazing opportunity for him to continue this mammoth gladiator's journey that he's been on for quite some years now. I can remember meeting him for the very first time a few years back as a kart racer. No more than about 8 or 9 he would have been at the time, full of ambition, full of excitement and full of energy, and that still remains the same young man, albeit with a few years added on. Kai Dadianani lines up 4th on the starting grid. That, as it stands, will not be enough to win Formula Trophy UAE 2024. If he manages to go one place higher, that will be enough for the Evans GP driver to claim the crown away from Rashid Al-Daheri. If, however, he does not manage that and he finishes 4th, then on count back it'll be Rashid Al-Daheri, sadly not able to race this weekend, that claims the title. So that's why there's a lot at stake here. We've got one driver competing and trying to get himself onto the podium. That will be enough to make him champion. The rival who has the advantage, sadly not actually racing. So there is a genuine chance that the champion could be a man who's not even on the starting grid. So there is more great opportunity for the team behind in 5th position. The colours of the Yas Heat Racing Academy adorned by young August Raber. Could be fascinating to see how Raber gets on after a topsy-turvy campaign. Didn't start well, but certainly continued on well in the opening race. So yet again, just as we saw from Zach Skula at the championships in the F4 UAE at the beginning of this year, I think we could well see another great talent in young August Raber. So as you can see, cars lined up on the starting grid, but the non-essential personnel will be cleared very soon indeed. There is Salim Hanna, the Colombian driver. Been in karting for many years before making the step up to single-seaters. Here he is in Mumbai Falcons racing colours. And of course, Salim Hanna, under the guidance and mentorship of the Monaco Grand Prix winner, class winner at the Le Mans 24 Hours, and two-time Indy 500 winner, Juan Pablo Montoya. If you ask him, he is the only driver in the modern era to have successfully completed the Triple Crown of racing. He stood on the top of the podium in Monaco, Le Mans, and of course at Indianapolis. Not a bad man to learn from, eh, Salim? He may have been slowly tumbled out of the fight for the championship, but that does not mean that Gustav Jonsson is going to go down without swinging. The Pinnacle Motorsport driver is going to be putting a final brave face on things to run from 7th on the grid and try and work his way forward. Mind you, the removal of the engine cover with just a few precious moments to the start of the race doesn't bode well. He retired with a puncture in race 1, so hopefully there's going to be a run to the flag to at least finish his campaign on a high note. Now, interestingly enough, there is a slight concern around the points tally of Gustav Jonsson. He could well be overhauled by Kabir Anurag, who is only 5 points behind him now. So the top 3 in the championship still very much at stake and on the mind. There is Adiman Bansal, 8th on the starting grid for the XL Motorsport driver. That is a refreshingly pleasing position to find himself in. And the Indian driver, who's clearly been learning as he gets more and more experience behind the wheel of a single-seater, certainly in a good position to end the 2024 campaign strong here. Don't forget, this is probably the last great single-seater race of the 2024 motorsport season. And you can tell it's the last because earlier in the week in Kigali in Rwanda, we had the FIA awards ceremony. You know you're going to be one of the last races of the year if you come up just after that particular event. Here's the starting grid then in full. Chi Zhenru, Italian licensed but Chinese driver, pole position, alongside the Singaporean Alpine Academy youngster Kabir Anurag for the XL team. Then it is Sebastian Weldon, 3rd position on the grid for the Mumbai Falcons, alongside Kai Danianani for Evans GP. 3rd or better makes him champion. August Raber, Yas Heat Racing, 5th on the starting grid alongside Salim Hanna, the Mumbai Falcons youngster for Colombia. Then Gustav Jonsson, the Swede in the Pinnacle, alongside the XL Motorsport of the Indian talent, Adiman Bansal, lining up in P8 of the grid. Nordis Kafour, Singaporean for AGI Sport, alongside Adam Alazadi for Yas Heat Racing, the younger brother of Keanu. Nicholas Stati, the Australian for the AGI Sport team, and the son of a great Grand Prix driver, Alexander Berg, son of Alan, the Canadian, for Evans GP, P12. 13th on the grid for British driver Chase Fernandez for the XL Motorsport team. He lines up alongside his teammate Cole Hewitson of South Africa. 15th on the grid for the Chinese driver Fu Yuhao of the XGP team. And AGI Sport have drafted in the British driver Emily Cotti in 16th on the grid. Rounding out the entire field, we've got Wang Yuqi of Pinnacle Motorsport, Jiajun Bin of Champ Motorsport, and his teammate for Hong Kong, Andy Law, in P19. So as everybody gets themselves ready for the final motor race of the year, predominantly for all of these contenders, it'll be a great way to sign the checks and put a line over the T and a dot over the I. This is it, the final opportunity for a great showdown. But all eyes are going to be on Kai Dadianani. He can't afford to get into hot water. He can't afford to overcook his tyres. If he finishes 3rd or better, he wins Formula Trophy UAE. If he doesn't, the man who's probably watching either somewhere out in Italy ready for another test, or at home is going to be the new champion. Rashid Al-Daheri will be watching this race with interest. So as you see for yourself, the personnel on the grid is now cleared. The marshals position everything to make sure that this is all complete and ready for the last single-seater race on the Yas Marina circuit in 2024. All that remains now is to send the contenders off into the distance and prepare them for battle. It really is going to be sensational. Great to see all of your comments as we go around on the formation lap. The Florida posse have tuned in, hoping to see a double victory for Sebastian Weldon. Hello to all those of you in the state of Florida. As Kane's Cats Heat points out, it is the racing capital of the Western Hemisphere. Hard to argue with that one, has to be said. So let's see how everybody gears up for another exciting race here. Not a single yellow flag really during the opening encounter, but it wasn't dull, that is for certain. We had a terrific battle for position in several places, so it was always going to be an exciting and entertaining run. But I genuinely didn't think we were going to get through a whole 25 minutes plus the bonus lap, not only without a safety car, but not even without a yellow flag of any sort or description, and still have ferocious battles, which we had several of. I have to say, this circuit really has benefited racecraft. Racing itself has definitely won the game since the reprofiling at Abu Dhabi in the early part of 2021, which was finally ready in time for Formula One. There was a big debate as to whether it would or not, but my goodness me, this place is spectacular. And you can see the remnants of the old configuration, but at the same time, you can also see, guided out on the road, several road configurations. And I can tell you that for a lot of these drivers, this is the first time they've obviously done this part of the course in a single-seater, but it's not the first time some of them have driven on that course, and this section of the course at Yas Marina, because quite a few of them will have used that part that we just saw in the background, and can still see in the background now. But that part of the circuit can be converted to a karting circuit and has been used out here in the United Arab Emirates several times over the years. I'm fairly sure this year the Yami Middle East is actually competing on that particular section of the circuit, and the drivers do actually race on what is part of the Formula One circuit. So a very exciting moment for them in karting. Even more exciting now when they get to do the whole hog. So now the cars come to the start line, and again, 25 minutes plus one lap. It's a great chance to show to your sponsors, your family, your friends, your rivals, your colleagues that you matter and you are willing to give it 110% every time you get behind the wheel of one of these race cars. Chi Zhenru will be pole position. Second on the grid beside him, Kabir Anurag. Third on the starting grid, of course, as we know, Sebastian Weldon, the winner of race one, the dominant winner in the end of race one. And in fourth position is the man who could be king, whereas the man who would be king is somewhere else in the world. Rashid Al-Daheri watching on television as his main rival, Kai Dadianani, tries to go into the podium positions. If he gets third or better, he'll win the Formula Trophy UAE. The green flag at the back of the field. And so for Chi Zhenru and Kabir Anurag at the front end of the grid, one of these guys is going to have to lead into turn one. Time to go racing at Yas Marina. Not a great start from Sebastian Weldon, but a perfect start from Kabir Anurag, who works his way into the lead early doors, and Kai Dadianani is already up to third, but could make it second on the inside of Chi Zhenru. Hold your breath. go wheel to wheel, and Kai Dadianani is on the inside line. Is that going to be enough to get into second position? He forces it, and Kai Dadianani is into championship winning position, into second place, as Weldon has to work hard to fend off from one of the Yazheed drivers. I think that was August Raber. Big lockup from Chi Zhenru, and now Raber gets his chance on the inside line and overtakes Sebastian Weldon, who's definitely going to have to go wheel to wheel if he wants to get another victory tonight. Under the W Hotel, it's glorious for Kabir Anurag. It's absolute heaven sent for Kai Dadianani. Now up into second position. The cars go wheel to wheel further back. This is another of the Mumbai Falcons racing team cars. I think that's Salim Hanna having a nice little battle with Gustav Jonsson. Up on the inside, is that Adam Al-Azadi making his bid? It is indeed. Gets through on the inside there of the AGI Sport. So as they wend their way through up the hill, it's been a fascinating duel. So excellent work from the contenders as they continue to make good work of things down the hill. Nice little bit of protection on the inside line there. And a big dive as the XLs go wheel to wheel. Jace Fernandez fancies his chances of making some progress. But everybody is now working their way down the back straight, and there's a bit of an offset as the drivers weave from side to side. Is this going to be an opportunity knocking for August Raber? Down on the inside line to get into third position. On Chi Zhenru it is! August Raber sorts it out and gets into third position, and Sebastian Weldon holds off the onslaught of Salim Hanna to remain in the top 5 for now. Good work by Adam Al-Azadi, still having a great race with Maurice Ford. And Nicholas Starty is there as well, so a lot of good racecrafters. Meanwhile, side by side, we've got a chance here for a very tough move on the inside from one of the Evans GP cars. That is the 7 getting through on the inside. That's Berg, and he's going to try and split the 2 XL Motorsport cars, keep his foot in and hold the position. It's going to need to be a lot of bravery there. But I think it might just be enough to make it work out. So a very cool customer in Alexander Berg. Our timing screen doesn't quite reflect the situation. I think it's going to settle things out again with the correct order now very much going to be in mind, because there is a couple of drivers that are not quite correct on the timing screens. However, Kabir Anurag leading the way from Kai Dadianani is absolutely correct. August Raber 3rd, Chi Zhenru 4th, Sebastian Weldon is 5th, and Salim Hanna in 6th position in front of Al-Azadi, Jonsson, Kapoor, Starty, Bansal, Fernandez and Fu. They sweep through. But once again, these guys have definitely behaved themselves. I wonder if Race Control had a fairly sharp but very firm way of dealing with the potentials in the drivers' meeting. And up the inside, that is Bansal going wheel to wheel with Fu Yuhao. So the teammates really, really close together. We should remind everybody, of course, that in this form of single-seater racing, there are no team orders. So it'll be quite intriguing to see how things continue to move forward. Down to the braking zone. And it looks like there's more trouble for Gustav Jonsson. He overshoots the chicane. And I would not at all be surprised if he's going to work his way back into the pits. He does indeed. So Gustav Jonsson's miserable weekend comes to nothing here at Yas Marina. What had been so promising in the first 5 races of the year is now nothing more than a pipe dream. Still the XL drivers swapping paint very nearly as they come through, and that is Norris Gafour a little further way up the field from this. Still going wheel to wheel, and Sebastian Weldon gets way too close for comfort there to a collision with one of the Mumbai Falcons. I think that was Chi Zhenru, and there is a yellow flag. So we're not entirely sure who it is that's gone off the road. There's Sebastian Weldon, and there is Chi Zhenru. So I wonder if it's damage or if there is another car that's gone off the road. Well, there is Gustav Jonsson getting out of his 2024 season has now, unfortunately, sadly ended. But there's still more to come from him in 2025, I'm sure, as Salim Hanna really pushes Adam Al-Azadi. Another good run from Al-Azadi in the opening stages. He is really getting his sleeves rolled up. and doing a terrific job to hold off drivers with a lot more experience out here. Don't forget, this is still Adam Al-Azadi's first full season of single-seaters. He's about halfway through that because he only joined F4 midway through the year. He was a senior karting star before then, very much following in the wheel tracks of his brother Keanu and his father Kareem, of course. Very talented racing driver in his own right. So it certainly seems as though the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Down in the braking zone. Just holding himself to the inside line there. This is really good tactics from Adam Al-Azadi. And how about that for forcefulness on the inside? One more race battle that could go his way for Nordis Gafoor, who decides enough of this, I'm going for it. And so Nordis Gafoor gets into 7th position in front of Shi Jianru. And that is more than enough to assert himself. But there's a big dive on the inside line now as all close together. Nicholas Starty thought he had a run on his Singaporean teammate who runs wide. In fact, both the AGIs run wide on that occasion. And round the far side, a cut in from Chase Fernandez. Fernandez now trying to get through on the inside as he locks up on the W Hotel, and Nordis Gafoor and misses the apex in the right-hander before the W Hotel. Manages to rejoin behind Shi Jianru and in front of his teammate Nicholas Starty. So a bit of a shuffle of the deck there. 18 minutes to go. Still very unclear as to who's going to get the best of it. But certainly it is looking very good indeed for Kabir Anurag to pick up his 2nd win of the year. And that would actually level him for race victories with the man who is no longer set to be the champion in Formula Trophy UAE, Rashid Al-Daheri. Qaidar Inani has done exactly what he needed to off the start here and runs 2nd. Good news for fans of Qaidar Inani, of which there are many. He runs in 2nd position, which will be enough to overhaul his rival from the season, Rashid Al-Daheri, by a grand total of 6 points. That's going to be the swing. It's been quite the incredible story as well as to Qaidar Inani's route through to single-seaters. Some know it, some don't, so I'll try and give you the Cliff Notes version as the AGI Sport teammates battle away still. But Qaidar Inani was actually discovered one Dan Wells, the very talented Asian Le Mans racer and driver coach, was on an iRacing session and got completely hoodwinked by this kid called Qaidar Inani. He'd never heard of him. He got in touch with him and said, "Are you a racing driver?" He said, "No, not yet." He said, "Well, you are now. I'm going to back you." Chase Fernandez going wheel to wheel with both AGI Sport teammates, Nicholas Starty and Nordis Gafoor. Starty goes out wide over the curbs, will recover, but not quite able to go side by side with Chase Fernandez because Fernandez has cut him off at the end of the move. So excellent work from Chase Fernandez to get up into 8th position now, going after Shi Jianru, and still with the 2 AGI Sport twins, Nicholas Starty and Nordis Gafoor, in the top 10 ahead of Alexander Berg, Animan Bansal, Cole Hewitson and Fuyu Hao. And there is a little bit of urgency now in Nordis Gafoor's driving. He said to me that based on the amount of funding they've got, this could well be his last race. So no wonder he wants to bow out strong and show to potential sponsors, look, I am worth the backing. On the inside, Adam Al-Azadi gets his run on Salim Hanna. What a drive from Adam Al-Azadi so far. This is, for my money, his breakthrough performance. He joined Spanish F4 halfway through this year as a complete novice, thrown in at Technicar, still learning the ropes, still unsure what he was going to do. And here he is with the Yazheed Academy on home turf, just about 90 minutes away from where he lives, and he is in his element. This is a nice sneak preview of what we could get to see in the F4 Middle East Championship kicking off next month at the Kuwait Motor Town, with further trips in the Middle East planned for the final 3 race events. Here we go again. And that is a retaliation from Shi Jianru, who gets ahead of his rival Adam Al-Azadi again. And how about that from Nicholas Starty, joining away with Chase Fernandez. Nordis Gafoor is still in the mix there with them as well, and Alexander Berg is not far away. So what can Chase Fernandez do? Goes wheel to wheel with the Australian. Nicholas Starty doing a great job. Watch for the Singaporean. Nordis Gafoor looks for a door, looks for a window, looks for any gap at all to come through on the inside line. And there's still daylight opportunities there. Oh, a bit of a run wide though from Nordisk Ford as he gets completely chopped in there by Chase Fernandez. But the man who's got to the front of all of this is the man who's now got lockup all over his wash in his wing mirrors, and that is Nicolas Starty. Ahead of Chase Fernandez, Nordisk Ford, Alex Berg, Ariman Pansal, Cole Hewitson, Fu Yuhao, Wang Yuqi, Emily Cotti, Jiajian Bin, and Andy Law of Hong Kong. 18 of the 19 starters still left, because Gustav Jonsson pulled out of the race with what we think was a recurring mechanical problem on the second and final race of the weekend. So still, the drivers continue to battle away as they drop down the hill. We're about flirting with the half distance mark of this race now, and I have to say, considering what we are used to seeing at Formula 4 level, where drivers literally push for every second and go for every overtake as if it's do or die, £25 million race deal in Formula 1 special. But having said that, there are no safety car periods from race 1. There are still none for race 2 at the moment. And not even has there been a major yellow flag in this Formula Trophy UAE field, which is absolutely extraordinary. Certainly not one enough to neutralise the race. Out in front, Kabir Anurag leads Kai Dadianani with third position, August Raber. This is the duel for fourth. Sebastian Weldon is in P4, and in fifth position, Salim Hanna. Now, for those who are disappointed for Sebastian Weldon that he hasn't been able to make it up to this point, 2 out of 2. Oh, right. Apparently, Nicolas Starty and Nordisk Ford have both been given black and white warning flags for their track limits infringements. We kind of saw their infringements for ourselves on the previous lap. But a fascinating duel for position for fourth place between Weldon and Hanna. Of course, this sets us up nicely for a great rivalry and a great duel to continue on into 2025. It's going to give us only a taster, really, of what we can expect. Amazing to see Sebastian Weldon put in such a great effort here in fourth position to fend off from the talents of Salim Hanna of Colombia. Back on the power, fly through the left. Camber elevates the circuit a little, then chuck it back through on the right. So it's a real honor and privilege to walk the circuit here. You really get a real sense of the physicality of what the car is doing. Some people say this circuit is a little bit tame for racing. It's a little bit muted as a spectacle. I completely disagree. I think this place is fantastic for racing, as demonstrated with a big dive on the inside line. Full bravery from Emily Cotti. She has a go there at UG. And so drivers who really, really want to make a killing, want to make a good overtaking move, want to showcase their skills, they need to be doing so in this last race of the year. This could convince a sponsor or two to think, do you know what, this driver's pretty good actually. So Emily Cotti still frustrated, sat behind Yuche at the moment, but we are beyond half distance, and so now it really is now or never to make or break this run in 2024. With 11 minutes left of the season, never mind 11 minutes left of the race, it's definitely going to be a fascinating conclusion. Armsy McRae points out this track is perfect for racing, such as in F4. Certainly does deliver every time, this place, and I'm going to be really excited when the F4 Middle East Championship comes here for its third different race venue in the fourth meeting of the year, as it'll be 2 visits to Kuwait Motor Town next season, followed by Dubai Motordrome in third, and then it is this place, Yas Marina, 4th round of the championship. The 5th round, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm aware, it is still a TBD, or to be determined. So we'll get our information fairly soon, I'm sure. So Kabir Anurag in front of Kai Dadianani, and that is great news for Kabir, but it's also amazing news for Kai Dadianani. talent scouted by Dan Wells, when Darianani actually beat Dan Wells on iRacing. He asked him, "Are you a racing driver?" He said, "I'm trying to be, but I've got no budget." He said, "Look, you do not beat somebody like me if you don't have any talent, sir. Let me train you, let me coach you." And so they formed an alliance. It's been very rough roads, it's been tough going, but Guy Darianani is really now starting to reap the rewards. He's picking up single-seater victories pretty much everywhere he goes now. So it'll be terrific to see how it all continues further forward. There is Weldon in front of Hannah. Chi Zhenru, P6 in front of Adam Al-Azadi, Nicholas Starty, and then Chase Fernandez 9th in front of Noris Gafour. That would be very pleasing for the young Singaporean to bag his first championship point in his second race outing, and certainly to end his 2024 campaign, showing the world what he's really capable of. So Kabir Anurag in front of Kai Darianani and August Raber, a very different podium to what we saw in race 1. And in fact, only one member of the podium trio is going to remain in position, although on a different step of the podium. Will be good to see Kabir Anurag and August Raber climb the podium. If that's the case, Salim Hanna tucks up behind Sebastian Weldon once again. Way too far back to go for the overtake. Chi Zhenru now in P6 in front of Adam Al-Azadi, whose tyres are slowly starting to fade here. Nicholas Starty has closed him up again. Chase Fernandez P9, Noris Gafour P10. So it is going to be tight to the last, but everybody's got to just give that little bit extra in the final 8 minutes and hope that you haven't pushed those tyres too hard. So still, Adam Al-Azadi is under relentless pressure from Nicholas Starty, the Australian, and this is his best chance yet. Down the back straight, poor Adam Al-Azadi, he's a sitting target. So now down to the final couple of corners in the lap there for Sebastian Weldon, but side by side further back, and it's well covered by Nicholas Starty. In the end, who gets ahead? Adam Al-Azadi has done everything he can to stop him going by. But science is science. Two drivers cut through the air quicker than one. And then that is how Nicholas Starty has been able to work things to his advantage. So now Adam Al-Azadi is all about learning what the back end of the AGI Sport car looks like. Preferably, for all our sakes, it looks like a fairly peaceable and non-toxic scenario that set this car up to do as well as it has. Just 7 minutes to go, plus the additional bonus lap left in the 2024 single-seater season. Still no change between these two, Starty and Al-Azadi. Looking good at the moment to come home in decent, solid points. So it'll be a really clear but pleasing end to the season as Adam Al-Azadi again just tries to keep close to Nicholas Starty. This is a really tough part of the race, this, because it's a full 25 minutes plus one lap. Everybody expects a safety car to emerge these days at least once. Although I have to say this is the absolute antipathy of that statement. This is the anti-statement to make me look bad. Yas Marina has had no issues whatsoever during the two Formula Trophy races. Not even a slight eyebrow raised. Everybody has kept themselves very much to themselves, supported and welcomed the teams and the drivers here at Yas Marina. So it's rather a shame that it's ending almost as soon as it started. But fortunately, they haven't got too long to wait until the championship resumes in the second weekend, my apologies, third weekend actually, of January 2025. 5 minutes left of the season, and Sebastian Weldon holding on in front of Salim Hanna. Is there one more chance to make a huge kick up into fourth place? Weldon's not here for championship points as far as I'm aware. He's just doing the best he can to gain experience, to learn, to put races under pressure. I don't think anybody's going to have any worries at all about this young lad when he does make his big screen debut in the championship next month. So let's see how Salim Hanna has any more left in the tank to go after his teammate, Sebastian Weldon. They don't look like teammates because usually in single-seaters, of course, with only a few minor exceptions, your teammate runs in the same graphics kit, in the same livery. Well, here in F4 racing, it's very much every man for himself. Do what you want. You can bet your sponsors on your car if you want and make it look completely different from mine, but I'll still go out and beat you. That's the way it is in F4, and that's the same trend that you'll find pretty much everywhere in the entire world. Still, Salim Hanna just waits, bides his time. Chi Zhenru is right there behind him. And look, Sebastian Weldon feels the threat. This is great news. In karting, you know that you're vulnerable because the driver in front looks over his shoulder. That's when you want to start making your overtake. In F4, it's very different. Once you start weaving and blocking the move that isn't even on yet, that's when you know that there's a great chance to make something of it. And a beautiful bit of a switch back there from Salim Hanna, going wheel to wheel with Sebastian Weldon. And Weldon's going to have to work hard to hold on to this. But he's absolutely the equal to Salim Hanna, and Hanna once again slots in behind his teammate. Watch in the background, Chi Zhenru is not done with this race weekend yet either. Up to the hairpin. Well held, well held. Get the radius right on the exit, Norris, and it is an absolute sweet spot. Perfect from Salim Hanna into fourth position in front of the two chasing talents further back. Behind Salim Hanna, of course, Chi Zhenru. Behind him, Nicholas Stati with 1.4 seconds advantage over Adam Alazadi as things currently stand. But no matter what you've asked of these drivers over the last 2 days, they've certainly delivered, haven't they? I was going to say, I think I did say in the first broadcast that as far as I could remember, this is going to be the last F4 championship with races and trophies to be handed out. I'll correct myself, as I always need to in these circumstances. Because of the time zone difference, there is going to be another major F4 championship race to conclude the season. Sadly, it won't be us. It'll be the boys and girls from F4 Brazil who are concluding their final round of their championship out on the Autodromo José Carlos Pache in Interlagos, the home of the Brazilian Grand Prix since 1990. So once again, this trio of racing battles just will not extinguish as Sebastian Weldon hangs on in front of Salim Hanna and Chi Zhenru. All three drivers, same team. At the moment, similar outcome. This is such smooth racecraft. You have to actually take a moment to stop and watch. This is not a kid behaving as if he's on his debut. This is a kid who's driving as if there's something slightly down on engine power. He's got that aggression, that nerves, but that self-belief that's going to push him and the team further forward. He's a really hard worker, incredible young ambassador for the junior single-seater ladder. Very much has the voice of the people on most of the subjects that are coming up. But still, these three so locked together. Weldon, Hanna, Chi Zhenru. They've gone under the W Hotel, under the crypto walkway, and then off to finish the lap. Not much to be said about the man in front, Kabir Anurag, still doing an excellent job up in the sharp end. Second position as well then for Kai Dadianani, and it's going to be the most important second place of his month, because it will be enough to leapfrog ahead of the talents of his closest rival, Rashid Al-Aheri, who is sat on the sidelines, either watching at home, as he always planned to, or at a test session somewhere in the world to prove that he is the right stuff. The time has ticked down to 0, so the next time that Kabir Anurag crosses the start-finish line we will be on the final racing lap. Look at the threat Sebastian Weldon feels from behind. He's as much inviting an overtaking move as he is defending one, but he's an unknown quantity as well. Salim Hana and Chi Zhenru are actually going to have their work cut out, passing their teammate off the turn and down the home stretch once again. Slight curve to the right, but it keeps things interesting as far as racing is concerned. The race beginning under the display gantry. We're on the last lap, not just of the race, not just of the weekend, but also the season. And for Kabir Anurag, the fantastic driver from Singapore, is likely to finish strong here. Excellent work. But is there going to be one final sting in the tail? Well, very nearly for Chi Zhenru. He almost found himself hurtling into the back of Salim Hana. He's lucky to escape that one. But as the field continues its great battle on the last lap, Sebastian Weldon, I think he'll be delighted to keep the two Mumbai Falcons racing cars behind him, to not need to panic about the fact that he's only going to finish fourth or third in this one. No big panic. He just knows exactly what's expected of him. I'm still learning. I'm still very much a talent to watch for, but I'm still learning. Excellent work from Sebastian Weldon. Not phased at all, driving like he stole it, and certainly very good at putting his car in the right positions to stop the defense or even stop the attack. But now, out in front, it is Kabir Anurag. He leads the way in the Alpine Academy colours. Here he comes. The Singaporean is going to come through for his second win of the season. That is the same tally as Rashid Al Daheri, but his points were not consistent enough. And it is the man who is behind him on the road that's going to claim the title. Out of the final turn, and Kabir Anurag gets the victory. Excellent stuff. But in second place, Kai Dadianani has done enough to win the Formula Trophy UAE season. He eclipses Rashid Al Daheri's score, and that is that for 2024 out in the Middle East. Excellent stuff all the way, and I want this statistic to reign true with everybody. When an entire world of F4 racing produces drivers making mistakes, getting it wrong, or technical problems and causing safety car upon safety car upon safety car, that weekend we didn't need the safety car once. Absolutely extraordinary, and great work from the whole field. Every single driver deserves their right to have a genuinely good pat on the back after this one. But this man, Kabir Anurag, you could sense there was that speed still being bottled up and held in reserve. He needed a good race situation to unlock it. The team obliged. Kabir Anurag is the race winner. Two different race winners then over the course of the season, and yet again proof that in this particular title fight of 9 races, there has only ever been one man up at the top. That man is about to sail into your picture, probably just enjoying the moment a little bit too hard, and that is Kai Dadianani. Well, he's not the one to come through first. He's clearly doing what all great champions do. Savor the moment, drink it in, because you never know when it's just the very ounce that is keeping you in the game full term. What a joyous affair for Anurag. But honestly, at this stage, it is just so wonderful to have seen and witnessed, as you have, 2 terrific races in one of the most competitive forms of racing in the entire planet. But excellent work, excellent work. And as one of our commenters on the live stream points out, no contact. I didn't see any contact with anybody in the entirety of race 2. Came close a few times in race 1, but there is the man, Kai Dadianani, who is the new winner of the Formula Trophy UAE. But on to the top step of the podium and climbing aboard his mount, Kabir Anurag. A great way to sign off for 2024. Watch out for this guy next month. If He is going to be featuring on the starting grid in the F4 Middle East Championship that kicks off in 2025 at Kuwait Motor Town. This boy's definitely a prime candidate to go for that title fight. What an exciting young talent. Isn't it amazing? You wait years for a decent driver from Singapore, and then two come along at once. We've got Christian Ho, now in Formula 3 next year, and the second man in, Kabir Anurag. But the party has started in earnest for Kai Dadianani, the Indian racing under a British license. Decides to be professional first, goes and gets himself weighed. But he just wants that final confirmation. And how about August Raber, the Yas Heat Racing Academy driver, getting a third place finish. There is Dan Wells, the man who discovered him after being beaten by young Kai Dadianani on iRacing. They formed an alliance, and that allegiance has been ironclad. Now the emotions, after all the hard work for Kai Dadianani, can be unleashed. This has been quite a journey even to get to this point. There have been times where it's looked futile. There have been times when it's looked like nothing they can do is going to fix their stars. But boy, was the wait worth it for Kai Dadianani. And absolutely destroyed Kabir Anurag. Said to you before that we wait years for a talent from Singapore, and then two come along at once, thanks to the talents of both Christian Ho and Kabir Anurag. But for Kai Dadianani, this party is going to be long. It's going to be big, and it's going to be a real motivator. A talent like Kai Dadianani's is a bit like fine wine. It betters with age. It increases value with time. Kabir Anurag takes the victory. Kai Dadianani takes the Formula Trophy UAE crown. August Raber, what a drive to third position for Yas Heat Racing. Then the trio of Mumbai Falcons, led home by Sebastian Weldon ahead of Salim Hada and Chi Zhenru. Seventh place for Nicolas Starty, very steady pace for him in front of Adam Al-Azadi. Then Chase Fernandez, ninth place. And the last point goes to Nordis Gafoor. Nordis, and to the whole of Singapore, I really hope that isn't the last time we see this man in a racing car. Come on, give him another shot. Adiman Bansal, 11th in front of Alexander Berg. Fu Yuhao in 13th in front of Cole Hewitson, the South African, and Wang Yuche, the Chinese driver for Pinnacle. Emily Cotti fought her quarter and beat home the two champ drivers, Jia Zhenbin and Andy Law. Sadly, Gustav Jonsson retiring for the second race in a row. Seth Gilmore withdrew. So the contenders here in Yas Marina have definitely given us something truly spectacular to witness. Two great races, 25 minutes plus one lap in duration, and it's been an emotional night. There you can actually see the passion has not finished yet. Look at the foreground, and you can see one of the officials, one of the members of the team at Bremer, in deep conversation with Juan Pablo Montoya. Look at the way that they're having that conversation. So Juan Pablo Montoya, who mentors Salim Hana. And that just shows you that the passion runs very strong indeed with the Colombian. Doesn't matter whether he's racing or mentoring. But Juan Pablo Montoya is clearly dissatisfied with the way that race 2 played out. He's obviously fighting for his young talents corner. I think he fights for his young drivers almost more than he did for himself back in the day. He still gets an amazing amount of passion over working with great young talent. And certainly there is a real desire to continue to grow with these talents as they work their way through the school of racing. But here under the lights of Yas Marina, it is wonderful to see young Kai Dadianani come of age. It is wonderful, wonderful stuff after a very long wait, it has to be said, for Kai Dadianani. He's been at this now for about 3 or 4 years. But to really finally start to unlock that pace. You know, some drivers just learn at a different speed, and you've got to remember that Kai Dadianani is not a racing driver by natural, organic talent. He's come from sim racing first, and then had to convert that into being a racing driver for real. So the next Jan Mardenborough is Kai Dadianani. So for him to go from sim racing to winning a car racing championship on any level is impressive, but at international level, on a Formula One circuit, against some great talents who have really started to rise the ranks through their karting days, a couple of which are already on Grand Prix academies. Fair credit to Kai Dadianani. So we're waiting here at the foot of the podium for the Formula Trophy podium, the last of the season. I'll bow out of the commentary box. Jake Sanson signing off here from Formula Trophy UAE, and I will hand it over to our circuit commentator, Chris Milbourne, who will welcome our 3 drivers to the podium for the last time in 2024.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now having the podium ceremony for the 2024 Formula Trophy UAE Round 3 Race 2. What an epic final race and what an epic 3 weeks it has been. But of course, to the top 3 drivers, congratulations. But there are only 3 people that will be standing with us. We'll make it 4 because, of course, we have the Rookie Cup as well. But let's bring them out in reverse order as always. Ladies and gentlemen, from Yas Heat Racing Academy, car number 47, please welcome Auguste Robert. Great to have the home team here on the podium with us as well in our final race of the F4 Trophy UAE. Now let's bring out second overall from Evans GP. Please give it up for the number 8. He is the man who won everything here tonight. He's second in the final race. Please welcome Kai Dariani. Massive accomplishment there from him as well to take the overall victory in the F4, the Formula Trophy UAE exclusive 2024. But last but not least, our winner for tonight, ladies and gentlemen, from XL Motorsport, the number 19, Kabir Anurag. And to complete the podium, of course, we have the winner of the Rookie Cup from Mumbai Falcons Racing Limited. It is the number 88 of Salim Hanna. And to help us present some trophies here for our final race, it is Mohammed Al-Hashmi, the track and motorsport manager of Ithara, here from the Yas Marina circuit, to help us present some trophies here tonight. He will help us first of all present the 3rd place trophy in round 3, race 2, to Auguste Robert. We invite him to present the 2nd place trophy to Kai Dariani. And then, of course, the winner's trophy to Kabir Anurag. But there is one more trophy that goes the way of our winner of the Rookie Cup, Salim Hanna. And now let's have some final group photos here from our final podium presentation here. And as we wait for the pictures to be complete, there is just one more thing left to do here. For one final time, let's crank out the champagne and let's get the party started!